Hey y'all, welcome back to Sales for Everybody. I am Tiff, your head expert. Really excited to have you all here today. If you're new, welcome, welcome. And I hope you take some time to go back and watch some of the other content, especially the session before this one on my channel. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, share, save, all those things. For those of you who are coming back, welcome back. We're going to get straight into it. So let's talk a little bit about this session. This session is going to be a part two to session number two. So think about this as like session number three, but it's part two to two. Sorry, that's super confusing. But in any case, you get it. We really need to get to the bottom of the question of how do you know if tech sales is right for you? Because if you do your research, you'll notice that in sales, it's a very high turnover industry because it can squeeze the life out of you if you're not careful. So it's really important to have a very crisp and clear reason for diving into this industry. It's fun for me and folks. I know a lot of folks who love it, but it takes some energy out of you. So I'm hoping that you find these questions and this work insightful as you continue your journey. All right. So this is a recap. Y'all know what this is about. Trying to demystify some things for y'all, make it clear, make it crisp, make it understandable as to why this career path could be for you. We always talk about education here, empowerment, and encouragement. You should never feel scared or, feel like you can't do this. This is a very realistic career path. It just takes some work to get there. So please know that this homework assignment for the folks who are new, this is now a permanent homework assignment. So every week, every day, every time you're thinking about getting into this industry, I still even do this to this day. You should be thinking about who you want to talk to. You should be thinking about the questions you want to ask them. And you want to be working through your questions as it relates to this industry, because that's the only way you're going to stay fresh and informed about the things that are going on. All right. In session number two, part one of this series, um, we basically talked about you sending 50 messages. It could be LinkedIn, it could be via email, whatever it is. You want to think about how many people you reached out to. Did you feel okay about it? How did you feel? And what will you do differently? I'm sure you've gotten some responses. And if you're a normal human person, you probably took the necessary steps to follow up. I didn't give any advice on that because you just need to know how to talk to people because this is sales. But hopefully you figured it out and you have a path forward for the next time you do it and continue this, right? This is an ongoing exercise of like, I could have probably worded that a little bit differently, or maybe I should have used OpenAI to craft this message a little bit more persuasively if you didn't get a response. Please know there's a ton of tools out there, but this is the beauty of sales. Like you'll never really know who I am, but if you ask the people who know me, they'll tell you that I'll talk to anybody at least one time. I'll reach out to them. I'll put myself out there because I've learned in life, and this is why I think sales is such a powerful career path. I've learned in life, they always say closed mouths don't get fed. So you got to open your mouth. You got to ask for what you're looking for. So let's talk about our very short agenda for today. Like I mentioned, a lot of self reflection and then some next steps. All right. So from last time, we talked a little bit about what an account executive is and what a solutions consultant is. If you don't know me, I am actually a solutions consultant today, like at a really large tech company that sells some really big and really sophisticated software to a lot of really big and really powerful government agencies. And so when you think about this, know that you can land in either one of these buckets, or you can land, or you could be someone who's in one of the buckets beneath the photos. So these different career paths, you don't have to be in those career paths to get into these roles. I want to make that very clear. But if you are, you probably have a little bit more insight as to how these career paths could look for you. And if you don't, I would highly encourage you research each of these roles, take a screenshot, and do your thing. Go look at people on LinkedIn, go look at their profiles, go look at their backgrounds. My background was a liberal arts background. I'm not going to tell you my specific degree, but it was not technical, nor, was I a developer. I just got into this because I love software, I love technology, and I love solving problems. Okay. Last time we asked you four big questions. Please go back and watch session two for the deep dive. Today we're going to actually go into the next set of questions. So 5, 6, 7, and 8. So these are the harder questions. You'll notice these get more sophisticated, mainly because this career path, like I said, is going to pull a lot out of you. It's going to make you really think hard and long about why you chose to get into this career path, because it's extremely rewarding. But if you're not careful, it can be extremely taxing, right? A lot of what people tell me in my current role and people who have worked with me is they'll say, Tiff, you're so good at setting boundaries. Like you're so good at saying, I don't want to do that, or I'm not good at that, or I don't want to take that on as a responsibility. And it's because I asked myself some of the questions that you see on the slide, as well as some others. And I've read some really important books around knowing what you're good at and what you're really bad at. And so in sales, I don't have time to do things I'm not good at. Yes, you certainly could take the time and go acquire a new skill or refine a skill that you're bad at. But I'm of the opinion that at my current career stage and phase is I don't need to do that. Like I like I just need to be really good at the thing that I'm really good at. And so start asking yourself these things like what are you really bad at? Like if people had to say to you, you know what, Christina, Mark, Brad, Michelle, whatever your name is, Stacey Ann, to be a little bit more diverse. Think about what are you really, really bad at? Are you not a good emailer? Do you not follow up quickly with people? Are you bad at communicating in general? Do you struggle with conflict? Are you someone that people would not go to for certain situations? And you got to know these things about yourself. I can speak from personal experience. My friends, they know you probably don't want to come to me about anything related to like fitness and wellness unless you're very serious about it because I'm not going to make a lot of time for excuses. I'm not really going to baby you. I'm not going to pacify you. I'm just going to tell you you're making excuses and either you want to do it or you don't. Whereas if you come to me about like kids or like things around like fun and travel, I'm the best person in the world to talk to about those things. And so you got to know that you're just bad at certain things. And I don't think people should feel bad about this. No pun intended. Number 6, what is your personality type? I didn't put on the slide, but I do want to mention a very, very helpful quiz that I took probably about 4 years ago called actually it was longer than that, called the 16 personalities test. And so there's a lot of these, call them like, if you're not familiar, like Enneagram or psychoanalysis type of tests that will evaluate how your brain works, how you communicate, what you're good at, what you struggle with. The reason why I mention it is that when I took my 16 personalities test, there was a report that I purchased for an additional, like, I don't know, at the time it was like $40 or something. And that report actually broke out like, hey, these are the career paths you might want to consider. And that was the first little ding I got in terms of saying, oh, I could, I would be good at sales. And so I just want to mention it because a lot of people will sleep on these types of tests, not realizing that they are like a little map to showing you who you are and what you could be better at or be good at in general. 7 and 8 are just fun questions. I just put these in here because I think that when people don't know you and they don't know anything about you, they still will form an opinion about you. Right. And so if you were to meet someone who's only been seeing you or perhaps has crossed paths with you for the first time, how would you describe yourself to that person? Right. So if someone were to say, come up to me like Tiff, like, and they don't know me, like, who are you? I would say, I am a very minimalist, fun, caring, creative, intentional, sometimes impatient and impulsive person who leans on her strengths and not her weaknesses to get her through life. And I'm someone who values tremendously the relationships that I've cultivated over the last, call it 20 years of my life, and I believe in the power of manifestation. And so I believe that I can do anything that I say out of my mouth and believe in my mind, right? And so I didn't tell you anything about my career path. I didn't tell you anything about my degrees. I have degrees. I didn't tell you any of that. I just told you who I am as a person, right? And so characteristically now, this is the conversation I have with this person. It's going to be very different. It's going to be much more deep. It's going to have a lot more color and a lot more tone to it than I'm a grad of, Ivy League University X. I grew up with Ivy League University X parents and I went to that's all great. I love it. It's fantastic. But the depth and the substance of the conversation are missing. And it leaves a lot to be desired in terms of building the relationship. And so if I had to give you any like direct advice, it's go deep here. Go really deep. Do not just come up with something. Go deep and understand yourself. And then number 8, which is a hard one. This one is hard, especially for people who've never worked in careers where you're never going to have all the facts. Sales is a lot about dealing with ambiguity and uncertainty. I do really well just chilling in the gray area. A lot of people will say, "Tiff, you don't. Are you not stressed?" I'm like, "No." Mm-mm. I have a coworker now, and she's so sweet. She calls me the Zen Queen because like you just can't get me bothered. You can't get me too disturbed about stuff, especially at work. Outside of work, for sure, because I'm an emotional creature, but not illogical, just emotional. I think that, I do really well with like not having all the data. And that's a skill, right? I think it's a skill. You have to tailor it. So these are the big questions, y'all, for this week's session. Please take some time as you start to do these questions, start to craft your personal narrative without Chat GPT. Okay. I'm going to say it one more time without ChatGPT, because there still needs to be a human element. Like your fingers or your hand need to either write this out physically on a piece of paper and some post-its. I can give you a template at a future session, but I just want you to get the rawness out on paper or on your screen. I just want you to get it out. I would recommend writing it down because it does force a different set of skills, like in terms of like tactile memory. It will make you feel a little bit different afterwards. And so remember, you're the main character, so act like it. This is your story to tell. Craft it, put it on paper, make sure it's there. All right. So now imagine that you have met someone who is doing what you currently want to do. Take a second. How would you tell them the story that you just came up with? This is the part two, right? Why now? What's special about you? Write it out. Write it all out. This is going to be, call it your blueprint, your template, or your methodology of how you introduce yourself going forward. All right. So that ends today's session. I appreciate y'all as always. In the comments, make sure you talk about what brings you here. There are folks who want to share, always help, and things like that on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and save and share. And I'll see you at the next session of Sales for Everybody. Bye.